Sports HQ, LeBron James is out tonight against the Sacramento Kings due to the NBA's health and safety protocols. The Lakers are 11-11 on the season, but 4-7 without James, who's already missed time due to ankle and abdominal injuries. Tip tonight, 10 p.m. in Sacktown. For more, we welcome in LA's native son, CBS Sports NBA insider Bill Reiter. Bill, we're getting this news in real time of LeBron's absence tonight due to health and safety protocols. As we continue to effort some reporting on it, what's your general reaction here to the news?
Yeah, general reaction reflects the conversations I've had with a lot of folks from around the NBA, Joe, before the news came down, which is this is a Lakers team that looks very vulnerable, and they need LeBron James to be healthy. And folks saying that to me, saying the obvious to me, weren't talking about the health and safety protocols. The Lakers aren't very good. They aren't particularly great even when LeBron plays. They have to have him. And so not to overreact too much, because it is December, in a season that's been troubling and trouble for LA, this is more really bad news they don't need.
No doubt. And as we're taking a look at the numbers attached to this thing, Lakers were 4-point favorites tonight in Sacramento. That has dropped to 1-point favorites. So buy it now if you love some Kings or if you love the LeBron-less Lakers. Moving this thing forward here and having a further conversation, Bill, about the Lakers without LeBron. We've already seen 11 games worth of it, and we'll talk silver lining here in a moment, but just in terms of getting him back in short order as quickly as possible. You can't win a championship here in the first couple months of the season, but you can sure put yourself out of playoff contention in the Western Conference. With how competitive things are out west, just how much wiggle room do the Lakers have right now?
Very little, and there's a reason if you look at some of the betting odds on coaches to be fired. Frank Vogel's a lot higher than a guy would be, you would think, who did not, it wasn't that many months ago when the guy won an NBA championship. The reality is we saw last year what happens when the Los Angeles Lakers underperform in the regular season as the Western Conference gets tougher and tougher. And last season, the Warriors, who they obviously beat in that play-in situation, weren't the force they are this year. The Suns are even better. They made a run to the finals. You're going to see other teams get healthy who haven't been. This is a brutal Western Conference. And I don't want to overstate it too much, but the Lakers know they don't have the margin they used to because of the state of the West. And frankly, the state of LeBron James and the injuries he's had. Talking to folks around that organization, they know they need him healthy, and they need him consistently healthy this year because it's a much different deal than it was, say, when he was in Cleveland, and you get in and everything's going to be rosy. It doesn't work that way anymore, even for LeBron James.
Yeah, sneaking up on 2 decades in the association, things tend to happen a little quicker here. But you mentioned that time away already. If we want to spin this as a positive, I know there's no positive to be had with ankle and abdominal injuries, and we will report once we have information on what the current case is with his health regarding the health and safety protocols. But if it's just time away, a little bit more time on the shelf for LeBron, maybe they continue to go 1 game, 2 games under 500 in his absence. Can you see this as some sort of positive when we do get to summertime and you need a fresh LeBron James?
Yeah, it depends on the folks you talk to around the association, Joe. Some of the folks I've visited with, GMs, executive scouts, former players, current players, a lot of them are chomping at the bit, believing that LeBron is a dominant force is over, and therefore the Lakers aren't a threat. But for every person who says that, I haven't heard that in 15 years covering the NBA. There are people saying it now. For everyone who says it, there are folks who say, slow down. We've heard this in the NFL, Tom Brady. He's LeBron James. He's going to be fine. And that silver lining question you asked, which is really interesting, they only play, including tonight's game, 3 games in 7 days. So it's not like he's going to miss a chunk of games. They do play a Sacramento team. You just said they're a favorite against, even without LeBron. And it's worth noting that back in his return to the Cleveland Cavaliers, when he left Miami, when he went back to Cleveland for the second time, that was a Cavs team that was under 500. I think it was 20-21 in January of that season. And that team went on to make an NBA Finals. And the next year, they actually won an NBA Finals. So even though LeBron's older, there's certainly a case history here in the short term and the long term that things could be just fine. That it's only 3 games in 7 days, and presumably LeBron will be back at least from the health and safety protocols. We hope, we don't know, over that time. And the fact we've seen LeBron turn teams around in a serious way as late as January over the course of his career.
Yeah, the sky is not necessarily falling, but it is uncharacteristically gloomy in LA these days. Bill Reiter, we thank you as always. All right, taking a look at the last week of LeBron James, and you think he's tapering off, he's not. When he's available, he's darn good. 34 points per game over his last 3. That does include a triple overtime loss to the Kings last Friday. LeBron did have 17 points in regulation, but finished with 30-plus. He's gone 30-plus in 3 straight, but no King tonight against the Kings.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.